What's up, everyone? So, I wanted to share my opinion on the thoughts of clock getting removed. Hi. Um, Hi. So, if you don't know already, a few days ago, the WCA announced that they're going to be removing clock after the World's 2027 in Sweden and adding face-turning octahedron as official events, which I think this came as a pretty big shock to the Cuban community. And I think there's a lot of mixed feelings about it. So I know a lot of people have been posting their thoughts about it. So I figured, I might as well post mine. I used to be a big clock solver back in 2023 and 2024. I was ranked almost top 500 in the world, not quite at my peak. And now that my world ranking has at least tripled, if not quadrupled by now. Clockers are getting fast. But yeah, anyways, so I'm going to share a little bit of my story with solving clock, and then I'll talk about my opinion on the issue, just to give you guys a little bit of a background. I don't want this to be a super formal or scripted video, but I also don't want it to be super long. So bear with me, I guess. If you're willing to watch the whole thing, just bear with me. So I learned clock was actually the last WCA puzzle that I learned how to solve. Not WCA event, WCA puzzle. So out of the 11 different puzzles, 2 through 7, obviously, and then the side events, Mega Clock, Pyrrhus, Cube, Squan, it was actually the last one that I learned how to solve. So I didn't learn how to solve that one until probably a week before I first competed in it at Rocky Top 2022. And that competition, I got a DNF average. I averaged around 20 to 25 seconds. I wasn't really too bad because it was just kind of I'm trying this out, I would say there are very few people in the WCA who have never DNF'd a clock average. If you haven't DNF'd a clock average, then I don't know what you're doing, but it's pretty cool. And then, what was I going to say? Yeah, so my second competition was in 2023 with clock, or my second competition that I competed in clock, which I also DNF'd. So at that point, I was kind of I don't know, this is kind of a stupid event, so I kind of put it away. But then towards the third time I competed in clock, which was June of 2023, I started to practice a little bit. I don't know, I just started to enjoy it. And then I went to that next competition and got my first official average in clock, and it was a 12 average and a 9 single, which were pretty solid, I guess, for me. And then the next day I got a mid-6 single at home while practicing. So I finally decided okay, I'm gonna start practicing clock. So I finally got the Qi clock. I'd been using a Shengshou through that point, and just at competitions I guess I would borrow people's Qi clocks because my Shengshou sucked, but I also didn't feel like spending $35 to buy the Qi clock. So at that point I was like, if I'm gonna get good at this event, I need to have a decent puzzle. So I got the Qi clock. I started practicing quite a bit. I became sub 10 pretty quickly. Unfortunately, that year I didn't actually qualify for nationals because I got under the sub 15 barrier 10 days too late. So that's kind of stupid, but it is what it is, I guess. So I started practicing, and then I had my next competition after nationals, which was in September of 2023, where I made my first ever clock finals and also got my first ever what I would call good official clock results. It was a 6.47 single and an 8.01 average, which at that time in September of 2023 ranked me just over 800th in the world, I think it was. If you want 800th in the world now, I think you probably need a low 5 average in clock, and the single's probably close to sub 4 at this point. It's crazy. But back in September of 2023, you needed sub 7 to get top 1,000 for single, and sub 9 to get top 1,000 for average, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so that kind of sparked me to keep practicing clock, and eventually I got pretty good at it. I started getting sub 7 averages at home sometimes, some sub 5 singles occasionally, and then I had a few competitions where I just did really, really bad, and that kind of demotivated me, so I started practicing other events. But then finally at Southeast Champs 2024 in South Carolina also, I got my first official good clock results since that since the competition in 2023 where I got those good results, which were it was a 4.75 single and a 6.6 average, which both are still my current PRs today. So, yeah, those were pretty good. And then I kind of just ignored clock, and that's where I am today. I haven't really practiced clock at all. My last competition recently, I actually DNF'd out of my PR average just by some lucky scrambles. But yeah, no, I haven't. I solved a clock today once, but I don't remember the last time I touched it before, rather than besides my competition. So, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, my thoughts on it getting removed. So I think most of the WCA's reasoning for removing the event was like it's not like what we want to be represented as. Like we want to be represented as cubes with like multiple sides in different colors. I don't have one in the room with me. I don't even know why I didn't bring a cube or a clock or whatever. But yeah, we want to be, when people think Rubik's Cubes, they want to be able to go into a competition and see Rubik's Cubes and not see these, I guess, a clock, because I guess that's unrepresentative of what the WCA's mission is, I guess. So, yeah, I don't have too much of an opinion on this statement. I will miss being able to compete in clock because I don't practice clock, but I do enjoy being able to compete in it, every 2 or 3 months whenever I have a competition. So, I guess I'll probably miss it, but in terms of the future of the WCA, it honestly might be in the WCA's best interest to get rid of it. I don't think this is the best time to do it though, because there are so many cube companies making new clocks. Ever since I think it was 2024 when 7-simul was getting popular, or 2023 was maybe 7-simul, but 2024 I think that was when GE started making their variations of the GE clock with different magnet schemes, color schemes, stuff like that. And I think that was when clock really started getting popular, and it's honestly at a very high point right now. Our world records are, I don't even know what the world records are, to be honest. I think it's a mid-1 single and it's a sub 2.5 average. I know that. I think it's 2.27 or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, clock is getting very fast. MoYu just released a clock, I think it's called the MoYu Weilong clock, which is, I don't know, that's pretty alarming that MoYu's never released a clock. So if we are not at the peak of clock right now, I don't know what we are at. So I don't think now is a great time to remove clock. And I know a lot of people, I've watched a few people's videos on their opinions of this on YouTube, and they seem to have similar thoughts. But I think a lot of people are mad than happy about it. I know that I did see a petition that was sent to me through Discord, asking me to protest the removal of clock. I did not sign the petition. I'm not going to protest it. I think the people at the WCA know what's right for the future of the cubing community, but I'll be honest, I think they could have done it at a way better time. I know tons of thought was put into this. I remember I wasn't cubing when feet was removed. I started cubing around a year later in the fall of 2020. But I remember it was feet's getting removed. A lot of people are mad. Why can't clock be removed? And then when the GE clock came out in the summer of 2020, people were like, "Oh, it's kind of chill," and the popularity of clock grew over time. And for once, it wasn't just the Southeast USA practicing clock. So, yeah. What else do I have to say? FTO, I guess we could talk about that. So, I've solved an FTO once in my life. I got the Diansheng FTO, which is currently up in my bedroom in pieces. Don't ask why. In 2024, after it was released, because I was just there was a competition that I had coming up. I think it was called Mid-Atlantic Champs, and they had FTO at it, so I was I could learn to solve this. I haven't learned a cube in a while, so I learned how to solve it and then immediately forgot, just because I've started to focus on Megaminx and other events. So yeah, in terms of adding FTO, I think it'll be a cool new addition. It's been 12 years since they added a new event, when skew was added for reference, I was 4 years old, which is just kind of stupid and crazy. And I mean, I didn't even know what a Rubik's Cube was until I was like probably 7 or something. So it's been a hot second. I was probably a third the height I am right now. I don't know. It's just crazy how long it's been since a new event has been added, or like even longer than an event has been removed than one has been added. But I think FTO is a pretty good choice. I do think there were some other options that would have been good too. I know a lot of people. I think if I had to add one, I would probably add Killaminx. I really like it. It's a pretty cool event. Maybe Team Blind, but like, I don't know, I feel like there were a lot of good opinions, and you know, there've been a lot of cool competitions hosting unofficial events recently. FTO definitely being like the most popular out of them. I competed in Killaminx a few weeks ago, unofficial. That was pretty fun. And I'll be competing in Team Blind at North Americans next weekend. But yeah, there's a lot of cool WCA puzzles. Unfortunately, we can't add all of them, but I do think FTO is a pretty good choice. You know, it's a very unique event. It has a different solving method than most other events. Like Killaminx is pretty similar to Megamix. Mirror Blocks is similar to 3x3. Team Blind, I feel like would be pretty hard to organize, and then there's other events that are really cool too. If I had to pick one event overall ever to be added though, 3x3 Cube Mile. Please add it. That would be amazing. I know it'd be hard to organize, but I think I'd do anything to add that. But yeah, enough ranting. That's my thoughts. I think the WCA made a good decision for removing clock, but I don't think they did it at the right time. I think if we had waited 2 to 3 more years, maybe that would be a good time. Or if we had just done it like 5 or 6 years back. Although knowing what like the new methodology and clock has done for the event, I do think that waiting would have been a good idea. So maybe not 5 or 6 years back. But in terms of the community's response, removing it in like 2020 would have probably been a good idea. But I don't know. I feel like at some point, if we had kept clock in the WCA, there would be sort of a fall off. So I don't know. And then for FTO, I think it'll be a cool new addition to the WCA. I'm excited to see what people think about it. I'm excited to see what the times will be. I know there's some really fast people at FTO. I think Aiden Bryant I think he's from New England, USA. I think he's pretty good at it. I forget who the other people are. I haven't been keeping up with cubing lately, sorry. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. I'm excited to see like what the standards will be for like being a top player in FTO, for being top 1,000 in the world, like all these stuff. I don't know, I'm excited to see how the event plays out, and you know, now more people have the motivation to learn and practice it. Now that it's in the WCA, like, you know, it'll affect your sum of ranks because it'll be an event. So, you know, maybe people will start really practicing it, and maybe FTO will become the new clock and the new Cool Kid event. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I'll be at NAC this weekend, or next weekend. I guess it's Sunday right now. Yeah, I'll be at NAC next weekend. Very excited to see people. It came up a lot closer than I expected, but yeah, very excited for it. Hope to see you there. If not, see you in the next video. Peace out.